Okay. All right. So, good morning, everybody. Welcome to another Engineering the Markets. My name is Jared, and it is June 15th, 2022. So, happy hump day. Happy Wednesday to all. It's also a very important catalyst day for the markets. We have our FOMC minutes later on this afternoon, along with the Fed chair press conference occurring 30 minutes thereafter. So before we begin today, I figured we'd just kind of take a look at the overall sentiment going into this meeting. We've been talking about this a couple of times this week, and we'll just look and see if there's been any major changes to the projected expected rate hike decision. Now, if you recall yesterday, we looked at the market participants who were anticipating a surprise rate hike increase. They were looking at a higher rate hike than normal. And what you can see is that over the course of a couple of days, we've had a lot of volatility in this particular probability model. Looking at it at this point in time, you'll notice that a lot of market participants have completely removed the probability of a 50% rate hike. In fact, looking at this now, there's actually some probability, at least being priced in by the futures market here, that the Fed is actually going to consider a 1-point rate hike, a full percentage rate hike. So over the course of just a couple of days, we've seen volatility in the market, but we've also seen volatility from a probability modeling perspective in regards to the Fed's decision. Usually this is not necessarily actionable until the day of, but it goes to show that this is giving the market a lot of I would say consideration for what's about to come. And just to show this volatility, as I mentioned before, about a week ago, the market only gave the probability of a 75-point basis hike about an 8% chance. So basically a 1 out of 10 probability. Most of the market was leaning towards what the Fed had discussed, which was 50 basis points. Yesterday, we saw obviously a lot of that change, and only yesterday we were seeing the market say actually 75 is much more likely, and 50 is basically near zero. It's an outlier case. As of this morning, that has been completely taken off the table, and now we are only seeing 75 point as basically the majority, and then a little bit of an outlier case of a full 100 basis point or a full percentage rate hike. So the reason I keep bringing this up is, one, it's kind of interesting. It's probably the most dramatic change we've seen in this probability model since the beginning of the year, especially day after day. Seeing this change live and in real time is quite I would say worthwhile for analysis. Secondly, it shows that the market is unsure. The market is definitely unclear as to what is the best approach, and this probability model is showcasing that what was once a certainty is now not even on deck for this meeting. Now, as this has evolved and as this has changed, this obviously will affect future decisions as well from a probability model. And what you'll see is that the further out you go, you're going to be seeing a lot more elevated probabilities near the 75-point rate hike decisions. Assuming that we get 75 this meeting, then by our July meeting, we're also seeing a fairly high probability of another 75-point hike. And the way I like to think about it is, if we look a couple of meetings out, what's the probability of hitting some round targets? Basically, are we looking at 2.5 to 3% coming into September, and then even into the end of the year? What does the market think the Fed fund rate is going to be? So this pushes out that probability, but it also increases the likelihood of getting to about 3% in the September meeting. How we do that, of course, is going to be depending on the first two meetings. And then by December, the market is in, I would say, a bit of a standard deviation bell curve around the idea of about a 3.5 to 3.75 basis point range, basically the Fed fund rate being around 3.5. So as I mentioned, this is something that the market is focused on. It's something that we can kind of participate in from a visual standpoint. And while it's not necessarily something you want to take too much action on, it's worth knowing what the Fed is about to do and what the market is anticipating. Otherwise, you will somehow be blindsided by that decision, and the market had already given out some of this information ahead of the meeting. So as we await for that today, we'll obviously see what the decision is. We'll also hear more about their unwinding of their balance sheet. As of last meeting, the discussion was revolving around starting to let some of their bond assets expire. They weren't going to re-up any of those assets, so that's a natural decrease in their holdings as the maturity of some of those bond assets starts to be realized. They were also looking at unwinding some of their mortgage-backed security holdings. We should be seeing the consequence of that in this call, and also any discussion of future asset deallocation, along with if they're going to accelerate or just stay the course with their previous decision. So all that said, the S&P so far is hanging on its expected move. We mentioned that early on Monday and Tuesday, how the volatility has been expanding, more so because the short-term volatility has been uncharacteristically being breached and closed outside. It hasn't really been capturing the weekly volatility that we've been seeing, the actual volatility. We've seen our VIX, of course, spike, and our vol futures remain in a structure of kind of a slight backwardation. Once again, a little decline yesterday, but we still have a nice spread between our 35 and 63-day contracts. So overall, the volatility still remains elevated, and that backwardation state is a period of concern, basically a period of higher volatility. So looking into some activities that occurred yesterday, it's worth mentioning there was a shakeup in the natural gas market. This is something that we actually got a chance to trade live in the room. A lot of traders kind of took to their standard natural gas products like UNG, Boil, or Cold, depending on if you're playing the long or the short. And this volatility is something that we kind of expected for a while, maybe not so much in the timing of when it was going to occur, but more so in the structure of the market. Anytime you see a market where there's lots of wilder buy and sell swings, usually at the end of a longer term trend, oftentimes there will be this concept of a rising wedge or just a unstable market. And the idea is pretty simple. Usually when you have a large upswing or downswing, market has to consolidate in some way. It can consolidate over time, which is often seen as a period of very choppy and range-bound style trading, or it can consolidate over price, where you get these pullbacks, usually to demand or supply zones, moving averages, or trend lines, and the like. What starts to happen, though, when you get an overextended market is oftentimes the catalyst driving the behavior is not changing. The market certainly agrees that higher gas prices was appropriate as the market continued to reward bulls in the natural gas products. No matter where you looked, if you had bought the dip in a lot of natural gas plays, you were likely rewarded with new swing highs. However, these new swing highs were met with an immediate quote unquote rejection. They weren't seeing a lot of follow through. And that's mostly because they didn't really consolidate a lot of the behavior prior to the swings. You were seeing large moves down, followed by large moves up, down and up. The wave structure was getting a bit distributive. And all it took was some news yesterday to really knock this market off a little bit from its normal behavior of buy every dip to the trend line. We saw the news in regards to there's a liquefied natural gas plant out in Texas. I believe it's just by name Freeport. And there was an explosion that occurred. They predicted that it would only take a few weeks to resolve the issue with the explosion, but that has been pushed out to late 2022, if not into next year. So that alone has disrupted some of the demand in regards to at least U.S. domestic natural gas. And obviously we saw the consequence of that yesterday. Now, this is also a little bit of a view into a highly leveraged marketplace. We're obviously looking at futures here, which is inherently leveraged, but there are a lot of traders kind of piling into leveraged ETFs for the same reason. Usually when you have a clear directional bias, a lot of traders just kind of agree that there's only one direction to trade. And when that shifts, the leverage coming out of the market can be quite volatile. So a product like Boyle, which was seeing multiple percentage of gain, if we're just talking about maybe from the beginning of April, and we just kind of measure the upside that Boyle had seen near the highs, we're talking about a particular leverage ETF seeing about 170% gain over the matter of a couple of months. So very high overall performance. And obviously that's due to the fact that it was a one-sided trade for a period of time. It was mostly just long natural gas, maybe short some of those pullbacks, but ultimately the market continued to make new highs until it didn't. So a little bit of a lesson in that. And whenever you see a market with those types of swings, understand that it is something you don't want to fight. The trend is still technically in the favor of the bulls, but you may want to start unwinding any sort of high leverage, and certainly don't get too aggressive after a large move, such as we've seen in the past. This is usually the end of a market, the end of a trend. And once the catalyst or the market sentiment shifts, the last thing you want to do is be holding near the highs of the markup phase. So just understand that that's how markets tend to work. You can see it pretty much in any asset class that has large run-up phases, and even in assets that have large declines. The more wave and disruptive near the highs and lows, that can often signal the end of that trend. Okay, we'll shift really quickly into some behavior that's starting to take hold in the crypto market. So this is, once again, just an evolving story. We have another algorithmic stablecoin that has been in focus ever since the Terra Luna issues took hold about a month ago. That was not the only algorithmic stablecoin project out there, and it obviously brought a lot of uncertainty and fear into other projects. The idea that they could depeg and then basically go into a death spiral in regards to how they mint tokens was obviously a bit of a concern for other projects. There is another one out there that's starting to get some attention due to the fact that it is starting to unpeg, and that is the Tron project. So the stablecoin listing is USDD, and then the tokenized asset is TRX. So once again, if you're a trader, you know, this is obviously good volatility for kind of surviving a little bit of a crypto, I would say bearish overall sentiment at this time. You know, usually traders who are invested will often switch to shorter term behavior just to basically facilitate their portfolio and keep themselves active inside of the asset class. But it's also a bit of a warning if this does destabilize further. Fortunately, this project does have some safeguards in place. There are ways for them to restrict the minting of this particular token in order to facilitate the peg. They can avoid having it become just a wild, out of control behavior. But also the sentiment here is so poor that this could easily just become a rush for the exit. A lot of people just saying they don't believe in the stability and they could run for basically selling against or destabilizing this peg even further by removing liquidity. So something to keep in mind amidst a market that is obviously overall very bearish. If we look at just Bitcoin's performance over the past couple of days, it has certainly taken a pretty steep tumble from a relatively stable price of approximately 30,000, and we've seen about a 30% decline from that price. We're also getting into the highs of 2018. So this is a period of time where we've actually seen all quote unquote longs in regards to Bitcoin pretty much down or flat since the beginning of 2020, or I would say mid 2020 when we broke out from our 2018 highs. Now that's true from a price perspective, but it's also true if you just look at global market cap. Bitcoin is not all of crypto. Anyone who only uses Bitcoin is really not giving you an accurate picture. So it's worth looking at just the market cap as a whole. Seeing the decline in Bitcoin indicates that the market cap is, of course, going down, but it's also true that across the board, most assets are in a state of decline. We actually broke below the $1 trillion market cap a couple of days prior. I believe this occurred over the weekend, actually. Yeah, somewhere around the weekend, it looks like. So our market cap is certainly on the decline with most assets in a downtrend or a bit of a bearish market overall. And if you're looking at something where it excludes Bitcoin, you can also see the speed of that market cap decrease without Bitcoin being present. So this is basically saying all of the altcoins are seeing very steep declines, and we're losing approximately about 15 to 20% market cap over the past week. It's an all-out sell in regards to most crypto assets. So another thing to always be watching in this market condition is something akin to a Bitcoin dominance, which for some reason I cannot bring up. For some reason I'm not seeing the ticker. But anyway, there is a way to track just your Bitcoin dominance relative to other alts. You'll notice that that's also going up, and that's due to Bitcoin is declining, but alts are declining much faster. So, all right, so that's crypto in a nutshell. We'll shift back to here, and let's see. There's one other thing I wanted to look at. Oh, yes. One thing we haven't looked at in a while is sector performance. Now, over the past couple of days, doesn't really matter where you're hiding out in the market. Most sectors, whether you're doing something that's just holding up better than the rest of the S&Ps, something that's performing worse, and maybe you're shorting or just going after something that's going to underperform and therefore have bigger volatility. But if we look at over the past week, there really has been no bullish sector in this market. In fact, you'll even notice that energy, at least over the past week, is starting to show topping behavior. Yes, it is still technically in bullish uptrends, but we're seeing a lot of the future volatility start to shake up the market, with natural gas being first. We'll be watching for crude, whether we see another relative high, if we start seeing that also go into a period of slower decline. That'll obviously affect the energy markets as well. And the question becomes, are we seeing the, I would say, condition for the bear market to basically fully realize itself, where there's little to no area of, I would say, bullish intent? Strong sectors are seeing steeper declines. Weaker sectors are simply continuing their downtrends. And overall, the market behavior is correlated. I think that that's going to be true in the short term. There are going to be periods, maybe days to weeks, where high correlation will take this market. And that high correlation is not necessarily all bearish, but for the most part, the behavior of sectors is going to be closely tied to the behavior of the S&P. I don't think there's going to be too much in the way of one sector doing something dramatically different than the other in short-term periods. Obviously, every sector is structured a bit differently, with our obviously strongest sector, energy, once again, still technically in a bullish uptrend, but you can see the type of volatility we're getting at the highs. This is alone here. I just look at the drawdown here. This is over the past 5 days. This drawdown is about 10%. So just understand that this volatility is taking hold even in your stronger sectors. You look at something like tech, which looks pretty similar to the S&P. It's also going to be seeing 10 to 11% declines, but of course it's already structured weak. It's in a downtrend. It's basically one-to-one in a lot of ways with some of the S&P behavior. Healthcare, for example, which broke major support recently and is seeing, once again, just that 10 to 11% decline. Actually, that one's not as bad, about 8 to 9%. But you can tell that there are structural differences here. Some are breaking supports for the first time. Some are simply continuing the downtrend. And then some are a bit, I would say, oversold. The likes of a financial, for example, definitely coming into an area of interest, definitely looking to see if we can find some relative support here. But financials, banks in particular, are not going to do well when interest rate spreads are tight or flat. They're definitely not going to do well when they're inverted. And they're not going to do well when there are a lack of listings in regards to new IPOs or just ways to raise capital from the financial markets. So a lot of these sectors are kind of getting hit in different ways. Most of them, of course, seeing bearish decline. And that's going to be true as well if you look at something like an equal weighted ETF. This is where that correlation mindset really comes into play. There isn't too much in this market that you can say is bullish. Sure, there are pullbacks occurring. Maybe some of those will be bought. Obviously, today we'll decide if we're going to get some more bullish behavior over the next couple of days. But in general, most of the market is seeing, I would say, weakness or breadth to the downside. There isn't that same idea of hiding out in, I would say, what's it called? Defensive sectors. If you hit out in utilities, guess what? They sold utilities as well. That's down 11% from the past week. If you're trying to hide out in consumer staples, we saw what happened with the likes of some of our retailers, along with this is starting to get into a period of decline. We're seeing rejection off of the appropriate moving average, and we're seeing the same decrease, in the short term, just looking at weekly performance. So it's a note into what's starting to change in this market. And it's one of the reasons why I really haven't felt the need to bring up sector performance recently, because no matter where you look, you're basically going to be seeing the same thing. Most of the sectors are down. Some that were strong are no longer going to have that same protective feel to them. And the ones that were weak are simply doing what they are trending towards, which is downtrends making fresh lows. So that is not something that maybe bulls in the market want to hear. It's worth mentioning that this can change very quickly. However, understand that this is what true bear market behavior can feel like. It can feel like there really isn't any place to go. It'll feel as if cash or just being out of the market is safe. And usually that's around the time when sentiment starts to change. So keep in mind that the goal right now is to either follow the trend, protect yourself on overbought uptrends, i.e. energy or markets that everyone agrees are safe, because really at the end of the day, when they change, there is no safety there. And then, of course, looking for new opportunities, looking for markets that maybe have been in a period of decline for a while. They might be seeing some ability to bottom in the next couple of weeks. We'll be looking for those technical signals and obviously the response by the market, along with just finding opportunity in the decline. Obviously, the more the market sells, the more discounted some better companies tend to get. Usually you're going to see more investing mindsets start to emerge throughout the bear market. Doesn't mean that you're going to get the absolute best price, but you're getting a better price at the moment. So start looking for those opportunities and companies you want to own, and obviously use your capital appropriately as we continue to see weakness in the market. So with all that said, we have a couple minutes left, but overall today is going to be kind of highlighted by what's occurring at 2 Eastern. Be on the lookout for the FOMC minutes to be released. Be aware that the short-term volatility can really pick up during that time. And then after the minutes are released, understand that we do have about a 30-minute delay before the press conference. You usually settle out around a pretty wide trading range in the market. And then from there, you're going to see more volatility as we get some Q&A from Federal Chair Jerome Powell. So with all that, look to other Fed minutes for ideas. Usually the market will rally and then sell off the following day. You can put up trades around that concept, or you can just wait for the volatility itself and play the momentum that you see. So with all that said, my name is Jared. This is Engineering the Market. Trade safe today. Don't let that volatility catch you by surprise. It's well known when it's coming, and ultimately look to take advantage of it once we get some of the stability after the information is out. So trade safe, and we'll talk more then.
to the pre-market prep. I hope everyone's having an amazing morning. Hopefully, you guys had an incredible day yesterday. So, let's get to it, guys. Good morning, Norm. If you're there, firing up. Hope you're doing well. And
I
hey, buddy.
am.
All right, excellent, excellent. All right, guys, let's get started. We should be live and rocking and rolling here. Let's get Jared a big thumbs up there for his insights every single morning. We appreciate it very much. He puts a lot of work into getting all that information very early, as you can see, starting at 8 a.m. Eastern time here. And I think he lives is 7 a.m. where he
Yeah, it's
is.
Central Time.
Yeah, so even earlier
Same
for
time
him.
zone as me.
Oh, same time as you, right? Which is again, I give it to you guys. That hour makes a difference. It really
It
does.
is. I mean, it's not as bad as the West Coast,
Oh no, 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 no. Yeah,
but yeah, it's pretty nasty. We did just have some numbers come out,
yeah,
and I couldn't hear them clearly, so I'm waiting to see if I can get them on feed and see what they said. I did see that or I did hear, I believe. Let's see, retail sales fell. That was the one that I heard. It was
hmm
negative 0.3% month over month compared to an expectation of a gain of 0.2. So showing a little weakness in the consumer there. Um, Core retail sales 0.5 versus 0.8 gain. I know there was. We also had the import price index and Empire State Manufacturing Index. I'm just waiting to see if I can see those come over.
yep,
So obviously, the big news for today, 2 o'clock, is the Fed announcement. As of right now, the Qs are up 1% almost exactly, and the SPY is up 0.75%. But that 2 o'clock Eastern announcement by the FOMC, and then what Jay Powell says afterward, is going to be monumental today. Just a few weeks ago, he said pretty much assuredly it's going to be 0.5% or 50 basis points. Market's pricing in. Now it's pricing in 0.75, and there are even some analysts calling for a full point. So sorry, I'm a little discombobulated this morning. Got 15 things going on,
yeah,
and
yeah.
yeah, that's what we got.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun, and we'll see if he is going to shock them. The Feds are going to shock the market today. We'll see that for sure. But man, what a ride it has been here on the SPY, as you guys are seeing the last couple of days, just really taking a nice tumble below some of the recent lows as we've been talking about. Guys, a lot of great stuff going on. Yesterday we had in the closing bell, we have Dr. Reed. If you missed it, the recording is on YouTube. And you know something is really good, and that he is really good at what he's talking about. That even with some bad audio, people stuck around to listen to the message because the guy is amazing. So you definitely, if you missed it, you can
Yeah,
watch
he
the
is good.
recording. Oh, he is really good, and he puts together some charts that I think are going to be made available. His PowerPoint presentation has some good data there regarding all the bear markets that he has been through and what some of the things he has seen on all of them. That's going to be made available to you guys in the chat by Artie, I believe, later today. So look out for that. And then yesterday we had Brian. We had Brian yesterday, which was also putting together on some of the stuff he trades, his strategies, which is real nice as well. So a lot of fun stuff going on.
So Phil is asking, anybody know where you can get the live access to the meeting? Does it stream? I'm guessing you're talking about the press conference, the Jerome Powell press conference. Yeah, it's streamed in a million different places. If you just Google search or search on YouTube for uh, FOMC press conference or something like that, you'll be able to find it. It's out there.
Yeah, yeah. Um, all right, guys, let's get to it. Yesterday's watch list. Let's quickly go over that, see what we had on deck. Starting with Oxy. Oxy has been, one of the stocks you can keep an eye on. It tends to trade very well. Yesterday, at the start, there was a little bit of some choppiness, just a lot of indecision, as we expected, right? We expected things to kind of be a little bit on the choppier side. We saw that here with Oxy just going all over the place, up and down. Finally, breaks out of the highs here, which was a real nice run. Then back to some chop again. Again, I don't think we are going to expect anything crazy after we're all just kind of waiting for these minutes today to come out. This sell off towards the later part of the day, which is actually very clean, got very toppy here at 64. Again, I wasn't trading at this time here, but you can see how clean that was there. Here is Lee. Lee also took a little bit to get going, a little bit of a chop in that first 30 minutes or so, and then it becomes really clean. Look at this breakout, gets above the highs of the day there. So it gave you some good opportunities if you were patient. Again, key thing with this market is you got to be patient and wait for your setup. And even Baba, which is not as clean as the other ones like Lee or Oxy, also, if you waited, an hour, 30 minutes, you could see the nice little breakout here. Not as clean as the one we just saw, but also has some opportunities there. Coin was horrible, guys. You did get a lot of action pre-market before the opening bell, but then from there, it just didn't really do much, just kind of chopping around, every candle overlapping the previous one. And then if you look at this breakout here, how do you trust this breakout when you're not getting significant volume and it's been chopping around for the last couple of hours? So very tough to take that trade there on coin. Amazon continues to be a little bit on the choppier side. One good initial drop, then from there, nothing much. And kind of that was a song and dance for a lot of the tickers yesterday. I mean, look at AMD, guys. How brutal is this? Right now, don't get me wrong. If you're scalping and you can get in and out quickly with a good entry, you can have a good opportunity. But for the most part, I feel that I trade a whole lot better when things are trending in one direction. Even if I'm scalping the ticker, if it trends in one direction, I can do a much better. Same thing with Apple yesterday, just pretty much on the chop side here. Now, Tesla had a beautiful breakout yesterday, guys. This looked real nice there. You can see here it was very nice above the VWAP, so that traded very clean into that 12 11 time frame. So that is what we had, guys. Let's go over to our stocks for today, our gappers list. As you can tell, a little bit in the green, and many things just kind of going to be sitting tight, waiting to see what is the next steps here with the overall market. So a lot of the stuff, as we mentioned before, they are not in play on their own. They don't really have their own catalyst. It's just the overall SPY, and it has been like that for a couple of stocks in the last couple of weeks. If the SPY is moving the way it is now, you're not really having your own individual catalyst here. So we'll go through some of these again. I'm not going to go crazy building a watch list today. I think a lot of it's going to change. I know some traders, some members in the community will not be trading today. They're going to hold off a little bit to kind of wait for after the minutes, because I do expect some chop as well. So control, I did that the wrong way, so we'll get some rows in here. But the SPY is up nicely today, though, getting a little bit of a bounce. So not bad this morning,
Yeah,
right? We're
it's
up.
definitely getting a bounce.
Yeah.
I don't put much weight on anything today until that 2 o'clock
Yeah, I agree. So we'll see
info.
as we get closer
But
to
we'll
that.
see.
Yeah. Let's start here, guys. EDU, again, a garbage stock, and I gotta put my trade ideas in place here. That's the way to start the
How do you
morning.
really feel? It's definitely got a volume and a gap this morning. These guys got destroyed last year when China started taking a hardline stand on private education and tutoring for profit. The bounce this morning is on a new strategy they have involving teaching English amongst and I don't know, article I read talked about them teaching English and selling products while doing it. So
I just feel like, and again, I'm completely wrong, and
I
that's
agree
nothing
with
to
you.
do with.
I'm not saying you should trade it. I'm just saying what the catalyst is.
I feel like this is one of those tickers that will get stuck and they'll find something shady somewhere down the line. It's just, I don't know. Be very careful. I could be completely wrong, and I probably am. But just be careful with this one, guys. I do not like the way this trades at all. Let's head on down to DWAC. Another one that's not ideal. This morning, they're up 6.8. 111,000. This could be tough to trade when they're moving like this. Look at the drop yesterday. When they're moving like this, there's definitely some news. So I'm not sure what's driving this drop yesterday, but that was significant, and you can see that this is our gappers list gapping up slightly this morning. So
yeah, news was on a SEC investigation, I believe.
That is never good. That is never good. So it doesn't trade very well. Maybe yesterday did with this drop, right? That's a big drop. But then the volume, if you look down here, you're not even getting to 5 million on a stock that's moving from 38 to 26. That could be very spready at times. So let's head on down to Hertz. This one is up today, 5.2. What has Hertz got going on this morning?
Share buyback. They announced a $2 billion share repurchase program, and they actually just had announced one 6 months ago or so. So,
all right. So, excuse me. So here you're seeing some action there on them. Again, they're light on volume, not the best ticker. Let's see if that does anything. I don't think so. I think we'll find something better to trade. Here's XPEF this morning. They're up 4.4, 281,000. This could be interesting, but let's see NEO, because NEO usually gets better volume, and they tend to trade alike. So this morning, NEO has 1.7, up 2.1. Big day yesterday for them. I didn't have NEO on my list, but look at the rally they had yesterday. Nice 3 bar play here, ABCD off the one probably. High of day breakout. This was very clean yesterday on NEO. So I think I had it on a secondary, but I never really looked at it. So let's put NEO on deck here. BSX, no, not much going
This
on
one
there.
is a bad intraday trader. Their news is on an Aquas that somebody they're purchasing a stake in a different company, but it does not trade very well intraday.
Yeah. So well, not good for us here. We'll do a few more here. SWN, no, this doesn't look good. Energy company, not trading all that well. Baidu this morning, and Baidu has a gap up of 3.4, 141,000, but not overly exciting as of now. We'll stop here, guys. Let's see what's gapping down today. AERC, that looks like it's heading back to reality here. This thing had just a few ago was sitting at $2, made it to 18, and now kind of getting a little bit of a drop here. So Aero Clean Technology. What's the float on this, by the way? 4.2. On its way down. We do not have shares for sure. So again, not looking too fun for me here without being able to have shares for shorts on top of it. Although just because I had it doesn't mean I would trade it, because it is a low flow stock and you got to be extra careful. Norm's favorite stock here, Red Box, this morning is down 5%, 327. Again, it's just the fun is getting squeezed out of this thing
It's
here.
done.
It's done. No shares for sure, unfortunately, with Interactive Brokers. And when you get stocks like this that are somewhat garbage, even if you could borrow shares for short, because we used to have that with CMEG, it is so expensive. It is so expensive because everybody wants to get a piece of this thing back to zero, right? So sometimes you can borrow them, and it's not even worth the price that you can pay to get these shares. So be careful with that. BORR is down 4.3, and this looks very boring as well. 162,000, not much going on there. I don't like this at all. Roblox this morning. Oh, Roblox got some action. 808,000, down 3.6. What's going on with these guys? Definitely have something happening, because they don't put that type of volume out unless there's something.
Hang on, I had it confused with something else. Yeah, I don't see anything too crazy, so I'm not. I got to tell you on this one, I'm not quite sure. Maybe somebody else says.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like block trades, but it could be, but I doubt it. We'll see. We'll come back to that one, guys. So let us know if you see something on your end. Here's Mara. Mara and the whole Bitcoin. And Jared mentioned something good about Bitcoin. There's you can look at the global coin and kind of see how the overall market is doing. Usually we just look at Bitcoin and see how that's doing. That's like the big guy.
It's a good indicator.
Yeah, it's a good indicator. But it's all down. It's all down. Mara this morning is down 3.2. And please correct me if I'm wrong. I have not watched Mara at all. And I just don't think it's a great trader anymore. So I usually just take it off my list. It pops up here more often than not. Just don't look at it. Here is Hood.
So Roblox reported their May numbers. So
okay, so that's
what's gone. I don't know why I don't know why that didn't pop up in the feeds I look at, but
yeah,
I appreciate it, y'all.
Let's based on what we have, this could be interesting. Roblox here down 3.8. We have seen some pretty decent intraday trading out of Roblox. Not always, but there's been some days where they get great volume. They trend nicely. I mean, this one almost 100,000 here, 100 million, excuse me. So they could pull some good days off. We'll see what happens. All right, that's Roblox. Here's Robinhood, which again, I think is a horrible intraday trading stock. Doesn't move at all. And that's it. I think we're pretty much set here, guys. So again, we expected this today, right? It's going to be a lot of stocks, a lot of choppiness, a lot of indecision. A lot of these tickers are not great at all this morning, but we expect this going into this Fed day. So, Norm, anything you like that? I know you hate these type of days, but anything you'll be looking out for maybe after the Fed minutes or something?
I don't know, man. I'm gonna have to see what happens. This specifically on these Fed days, especially when that the announcement is really, I mean, if you go back a year or two, it was no big deal. You knew nothing was going to happen. Today, something's going to happen. And there's a wide disparity in what it could be and what the market's pricing and everything else. I find it tough. So I'll sit on my hands most likely, maybe play, index product or a ETF or something like that. I'll just have to see when we get closer to the open what it looks like.
Yeah, good. I agree with that more. And again, usually you have like all the analysts, like you said, they're all focused. Okay, this was happening. We all have like one idea, a very good idea what's going to happen. Everyone's all over the place. Like everyone really does not know or can guess a smart guess of what's going to happen. Everyone is like half and half, So that makes it very, very uncertain for these markets. Will be interesting to see how when we get close to that 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. Also, remember, guys, if you're in a position, if you happen to be in a position, just be very, very careful because you could be right. You could be right at the end of the day, but for the short term, you could be very, very wrong as you're getting some crazy pullbacks and crazy moves. So, Dr. Reed talked about this yesterday in his webinars. Being able to be flexible and adapt quickly is very, very important in this type of market, right? So keep that in mind. All right, let's take it over to our chat here, guys. Actually, I'll look at both because I know I got some members in our YouTube chat as well. So we'll look at both and see what tickets you guys like this morning. Let's take a look at NEO is good. Yeah, NEO is actually very nice today. Almost 2 million, up 2%. This will be fun. Great day yesterday. Had a nice run yesterday here. I had it on my secondary list, but I never actually looked at it. So we'll see how NEO does today at the market open. ATR, no. What else we have here? TX, is that a ticker? No, right? I doubt it. Oh, TX, yeah, it is a ticker, but this is a coin. Eternium sounds like a coin. Maybe not. I don't know. No. But either way, it's not looking good. Or maybe you're just saying thanks to someone. I'm not sure. I can't tell. Over in our chat. Our chat is very quiet. There's not a whole lot of tickets being thrown out. There's a reason for that. So we'll go straight to announcement, guys. We'll just ask your questions. Yeah. It's let's do this. Let's go to announcements. We can get into some questions, answer some stuff, and it's okay to not have a great list. We'll look at Apple. We'll look at NVIDIA. We'll look at all that fun stuff that we usually look at. But let's do announcements. We'll come back and fine tune the list.
Just a reminder, onboarding available for all membership levels is available on Monday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern with Carlos. Immediately following that is technology. Next week we will have Kyle, or excuse me. This is the old, go to the webpage. This is the old deck.
Okay.
I don't know why it's not loading for you.
No, that's the 13 one. I don't know what happened. But either way, we're off. We're off.
You must have saved the old one under that Just go to the website.
Yeah, we'll do that. Let's go here to the web, guys. Give me a second. Let's see.
So, guys, the market is closed on Monday. This is the first year for this, the Juneteenth holiday. So just a reminder, we will not be here Monday morning, and the room will be closed. So onboarding every Monday at 7, and then tech next week, the week after, is Kyle talking about Bookmap Part 2. That's at 8 p.m. Eastern on the 27th. Then next Tuesday, you've got Andrew talking about his 1-minute opening range breakout. And Peter will be talking about trading a single ticker. So he focuses, as we know, on AMD. And while he doesn't only trade AMD, he does trade it a lot. He'll talk about how you get used to kind of knowing maybe some eccentricities about the specific ticker and such. Then on Wednesdays, you've got psychology. Tonight, Mike's going to be talking about defining your trading why. Next week, he's going to be talking about anxiety while trading. Those are both at 8 p.m. Eastern. Mentoring tomorrow. John at 11. Ed at 4 or 4:30. I'm going to pull up and see what we have tomorrow for earnings. I'm guessing not much. We got Kroger in the morning. Adobe after hours, not the best trader, but maybe it fits Ed's style. So we'll see if he does any aftermarket trades on earnings. And Thor at 8 p.m. Eastern. Don't forget about StockTradingSimulator.com, our free web-based trading simulator. You can go to StockTradingSimulator.com to check it out. And if you're watching on YouTube, haven't been in the chat room, you can use the promo code PreMarket24 to get a discount off the intro membership. That is PreMarket24. It's 1 week, 7 days, 5 calendar days in the room, or 5 trading days in the room if there's not a market holiday. And it only bills you one time. Also, don't forget about the free one-on-one coaching session with Dr. Kenneth Reed. When you sign up for the Elite Annual, you also get half off. So, yeah. Use the promo code. It's READ50. That's it.
All right, thank you, Noah. I appreciate that. Okay, guys, let's get to it. I mean, we have some time here, so we can get to some questions you might have. But for the most part, we will look at some of our favorites like Apple, which will be definitely moving today to already 857,000. So I'm going to add that here to the list. We'll look at Apple. We'll look at our favorites like Nvidia today. Will be a good one to watch. Maybe one in the travel sector. How about CCL? I saw them on the Gap Up list, but yeah, it's not doing a whole lot as of right now. But yeah, anything you guys like, or anything that might have its own catalyst. I know that'll be difficult to find at the moment, but anything that you guys are looking at. Kyle B. Carlos, will you avoid trading today before the announcements? I won't trade anywhere close to the announcements, right? That I won't do that. But it depends, man. Sometimes you do find some good opportunities. What I will do is reduce the size. You got to reduce the size because I think I have been reducing the size just overall with the way this market has been because you don't need to take a big size to get a good play here. When it runs, when this market is running, you see our plays. Look at Tesla. What was it? We did Tesla and I traded. Was it Baba on? This was a real good one. Baba like 2 days ago. You didn't need to take you did not need to load the boat. I mean, you could take a very small amount and look at this drop here from 103 down to 98. I mean, guys, you don't have to take 1,000 shares on this. You could, but you don't have to, right? You don't have to. You can make good money with some of the moves, and then it protects you if things are going to be choppy, which they can be. You're protected on the other side, right? If you're going to get stopped out, you're protected from taking a big loss, which in this market you can get stopped out more often than not, right? So if you could see these type of runs like Apple, if you traded Apple on this day, you probably got stopped out. Look at the wicks here, the back and forth, So it's, it depends. I might find something that looks good this morning. But that's right past 10:30, 11, you got to just kind of shut it down a little bit because in the regular days, that time frame does get very choppy anyways. So today I expect that time frame to be even extra choppy. It'll be very rare that on a day like today when we're all waiting for such critical information that you are going to get some good runs on some of these stocks. Very, very rare. The announcement is at 2:30. But I think the minutes come out at 2 p.m., right? I think the actual minutes come out a half hour before the computers do their thing. And then I think Jerome comes and takes the mic and he could have a whole different reaction to whatever the minutes have. So we've seen him tend to do that to the markets. Do you ever do trade recaps with entry stops, etc.? I know how you like the 5-minute RB. Yeah, I have plenty. We have a whole webinar on the 5-minute RB, and the fundamentals of that 5-minute RB have not changed, right? The one thing with the 5-minute now is that the 1 minute looks a lot more attractive because if you wait 5 minutes on a lot of these tickers, it's gone. The action is completely gone. That's why you see a lot of the 5 minutes get too extended, right? And once it gets too extended from the VWAP, it's no longer any good for you to take a 5 minutes. So a lot of traders have moved over to that 1 minute opening range breakout, which again I have not done because you need to be very, very fast paced. Andrew's an amazing 1 minute open range breakout trader, but I'm not. I just can't calculate things that fast and trade that fast, right? So you got to do what you're good at, right? And I know that that's not one of my best strategies. Connor, yes, you know what? Within a 5 minute breakout, a high of day breakout, at times there can be a good ABCD pattern on the 1 minute, right? So usually the best thing to do if you can find two patterns within a strategy, right? You can see a ABCD pattern, a 1 minute high of day breakout. It just gives you more confirmation. But yeah, usually it's not just a 5 minute on its own. If you look at the lower time frame, you can find another strategy under the underlying lower time frame. So that happens all the time, right? And usually those become the best one to take they can run pretty good, because what's happening is you have traders looking at the ABCD pattern, the 1 minute, and you might have somebody looking at the 5 minute or the 15 minute or whatever, and you could have a better, more confirmation and better opportunity. So yeah, that does take place. So we have Apple, Nvidia. As we get more questions here, what else do we see? Do we see CCL? I know CCL we looked at. Yeah, no, CCL's no good. And I'm going to check my gap up list. I have ACAD coming up on this list here. Just starting to get going, guys. Got a runner here. What's the float on this? 159 million. So we must have news if we're running like this. It's not a low flow stock by any means. Let's get over to tradingterminal.com, guys. Definitely take advantage of this complete ad-free site, which I love. ACAD. Let's see if news has populated already here. Oh, hold on. Let me go to news. Go to news. My system is a lot slower on my side because all the stuff I'm running, it won't be like that for you. So ACAD. No, I'm not seeing anything coming up on this. So I don't have anything on this. Maybe I'm not loading it on my end. Let me know if you guys see anything. I don't see anything on ACAD right now, but it's definitely moving. We definitely got some action here. 703,000 right now, up 40%. Man, you guys see anything on your end? Let me get to the chats. See if you guys see something on this. ACAD, which is a pharmaceutical company. Maybe they got some kind of approval or something. That actually looks like that type of approval action. I know, guys, the float on this is 130. Where is it? 159 million. So not a low float, but we're going to treat it like one today because it is moving like that this morning, going from 16 all the way to 24, back down to 21. Be very careful chasing here, guys, if you want to get into this action. I know it looks attractive, but be very, very careful if you're looking to get into this. Make sure you have a plan in place. That's the key thing. Do you have a plan in place? What's your edge if you're going to jump on this? Not just, hey, let's try to go YOLO and see if we can get to 30. That's not a strategy. That's not going to work too well long term. Mauricio, you're giving us BA. Let's take a look at BA. Why didn't switch? Oh, I switched the bottom, not the top. Hold on. Let's look at BA. Here we go. Pretty quiet right now for BA. Really, really quiet. So I don't see this as one to add to the list right now. It is very quiet. I have XBEV actually. I looked at XBEV. I like NEO a lot better, but XBEV is up 4.1. Let's see the rest of the Chinese companies, right? They've been gapping up nicely. Oh, look at BABA here, guys. I like me some BABA. Yeah, let's go put BABA on the list here. It has been treating me well this month, so we'll add BABA to the list here. That is up a 2%, 413,000. Trying to get going here. That could be interesting. That could be interesting. All right, Fed decision day today. Yes, Fed decision day today at 2 o'clock, I believe, 2:30. So that's gonna, big day for the stock market, big day for a lot of financial institutions on what's gonna happen today. Banks are getting into the oversold area of RSI. Banks is another one that's gonna react to this very, look out for banks. You know what? I'm gonna probably keep Bank of America. You can look at JP Morgan. This will be, they're not in play for the open right now, but after the announcements, right? If you're looking to play after the announcements to take place, West Fargo is probably another good one as well. These will be good to keep an eye on, see how they are going to react to this overall news that's coming out, right? So, yeah, this will be a good one to keep an eye on. The pre-conference, I think, is that, guys, confirm the minutes are released at 2, right? And then the Jerome Powell goes at 2:30. I think that's the way it goes. Just want to be sure. Space Neo, thanks. All right, thank you guys. Perfect. So that's what it is, guys. So the minutes come out at 2 p.m. This is when the computers do their thing and read everything in like 3 seconds, and then you start seeing that action take place. And then Powell comes on at 2:30 and he does his thing. And depending on how he words stuff or how he answers questions, you can have a whole different reaction to the market. So Neo is good. I have Neo on deck, guys. Yeah, Neo is really good this morning. 2 million up 2.1. I mean, you can't beat that right now. Big day yesterday. I wish I would have had checked this one. It was on my secondary list, but I didn't look at it. But that did very well yesterday. Let's take a look at Snap. Triple H is giving us that one here in our chat room. And that is not Snap. And that one is not Snap either. If I could type, there we go. This is Snap, and then we're up 1.7 on this, 1.1 million. We have a little bit of volume here. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know on this one, man, to be honest. It can be like yesterday, which wasn't fun. Yeah, I don't see anything that looks great on Snap right now. So yes, the color, right? The color of his tie could change, could have a reaction on its own. We'll be on the lookout for that. Volume Snap seems slow. Yeah, 1.1 million for Snap is not great volume because this ticker can trade, as you know, really heavy volume. In the last couple of days, we haven't seen a huge increase in volume. We've seen some good drops here though, 1550 down to 1425. But if you look at these 3 days, right, I'm not gonna, like I usually say, I'm not gonna give Snap credit for this. This is not dumb trading well. You could have looked at anything, and you could have had this move. Apple and Nvidia, AMD, anything, CCL, airlines. I think airlines dropped pretty good too, right? Yeah, airlines dropped pretty good because they're having their own issues, man. There's like no pilots out there. There's shortage on staff and they have equipment. I remember when I was traveling down to Miami, they were able to, our plane had an issue. They were able to find a plane very quickly. Like there was a plane like parked right there that they were not using. So they have equipment, they just don't have enough pilots. So all these cancellations are taking a toll on them. And you guys remember they had like, what is it, 17, some crazy number of cancellations 2 weekends ago. So it has not been fun for them. You can see American Airlines here down to 13 right now. So that could be interesting. Maybe we'll keep an eye on how airlines are going to react to this. I don't think it's going to be anything crazy. Maybe a possible for now. We'll do American Airlines. They tend to get the best volume out of all of these. Anyone know how to change code server on DAS? Yeah, there's a way to do it. I won't do it now because it'll probably disconnect me. But you can go over, I think it's file. I forget what it is, but you can easily change code servers. I won't do it now because it'll disconnect me and do whatever it does. But yeah, it's easy to do. Somebody can give him that. That'll be perfect. All right, guys. Anything else? Anything else you guys might be looking at? AMD. Let's take a look at AMD today. I have Apple, Nvidia as well. AMD is another one that you can look at. Look at AMD's drop here. Very aggressive, as we've seen many of these tech companies. Very similar to everything else, guys. It's kind of going sideways a little bit. You know they're going to get the volume. It's all about how they're going to be this market open. So yeah, AMD is another one to keep an eye on. Trade FTW Evoke. What is that? Evoke starting to get going here. Another pharmaceutical company that's taken off. Did we ever find out what's the news on ACA ACAD? Do we know what's the news on this? I don't know if you guys saw anything, but Evoke started to get going here. Let's take a look at what is our flow. Our flow is 3.2, so low flow stock. What's the news on this one as well? This is starting to get going, so we can add this one here next to ACAD. So we'll put Evoke as well. Both of them in play right now. Great volume. Evoke is up 80%. Let's just see here. Here's the key thing. Are we going to hold? Is the catalyst big enough to get them above 4? If not, if you start dropping down here, then this is no longer any fun. It's got to hold here. It's got to get back up to 4 and continue on this ABCDC pattern run. If it's not able to do that, then that won't be any fun for us. So FDA approval drug for Medicaid for Evoke. Okay, so FDA approval. So that's good. That's good. So that's a good catalyst. This should stay in play today. That is a really good catalyst. So let's see what it does. And then ACAD has a catalyst in the form of an AdCorn meeting on Friday. New drug application for Nuplazid. I'm not going to try to pronounce that. Tablets for treatment of hallucinations and delusions associated with Alzheimer's. All right, so another good catalyst this morning. So both of these have some good stuff going on for them. Let's see how well they're going to trade. This ACAD, though, this is 100-something million flow. So that is interesting that you're getting this type of move and such a big flow. That's nice. If that is correct, I'm looking at trade ideas. If somebody could confirm Finviz just to make sure I'm not getting a wild number here, but that is some good movement for that type of float that it is. All right, let's see. Approval, that is good. Excellent. All right, guys, just to recap real quick, and then we'll go to our moderators lineup. We'd love to see what they're watching today because today's going to be one of those days where We all might have something very, very different. Here is Neo. Neo is definitely on my list. Probably one of my favorite ones this morning, alongside Baba. I like Baba a whole lot today. So if I were to put this in order of what I like, since we have time, I'm going to put that in. I'm going to add on Neo. It's going to be Baba. That's looking good. Roblox, not so much. Apple, it's going to be a decent one. So we'll add Apple up here as well. Let's see here. We'll add Apple to the list if we can. Yeah, Apple will be next. And then we have, I think that's about it. NVIDIA. NVIDIA is okay. It's not really doing anything good. But Neo, Baba, and Apple are going to be my top this morning. They're looking very, very nice. If I find something good in these three here, I will take a trade at the market open on these three. They're looking very, very nice. NVIDIA, not so much. AMD we have here. Okay, American Airlines, Hertz. Nice pop on Hertz 5.6, but we're used to seeing Hertz not do a whole lot, right? Not really get going. So JP Morgan, and we have West Fargo. Oh, it's a reimbursement. Trade FTW. I'm not sure if that's going to trade very well. If reimbursement, I mean, why would that do that? Is it that much money that these guys are old? That this, I mean, that should be built in. I don't know. This cattle is a little questionable. We'll have to see how that goes. That's for Evoke, right? Trade FTW. We looked at EDU, my friend. It's one of these tickers. Again, you got movement here. 1.2 million. I mean, it looks good. Pre-market, it looks very nice. I've seen this so many times. I just don't like the way the action is, but it does look great. Yesterday had a nice little run here. Again, we have many stocks that did this there. So it depends. If this is your type of stock, you can trade it. It's not mine. I don't like the way the price action is. Although right now, pre-market, I gotta tell you, this is looking really, really nice right now. So, maybe we'll give it the benefit of the doubt. I'm gonna put it here. Be very careful with this though, especially shorting it. Just be mindful of this stock. Roblox, Roblox. Yeah, they had a big pop here. They released their numbers for May, so that created a pop there. We'll have to see how it's gonna play out at the market open. It's not doing a whole lot right now. It might just continuing to chop. So again, not definitely one of the favorites ones this morning. It might drop off the list, right? But again, let's see how this is going to react at the market open. We've seen Roblox trade very, very well in the past. This is why I'm going to keep it here. They're more often they're on the choppier side, but today they could actually do something. Let's see. And besides, retail traders need to find where to trade today. So if they're not going to find in the big tickers here that are going to be choppy today, maybe Roblox can step up and cover that gap this morning. CALA. Ooh, no. What is this? Whatever it is, we're not watching it. It's 11,000. Horrible stuff here. I don't know what this is. So my thoughts, Brad, on that is that we shouldn't watch this at all. The only person having fun today is if you were holding this at 20 cents and you wake up this morning, sell immediately. And again, that's not advice. That's just what I would do if I had any type of shorts shares on this thing. Amazon. Let's take a look. AMZN this morning. What do we have here? It's just choppy volume though. Amazon's getting volume every single morning. We're seeing at 1.7, almost 2 million, which is nice. So we got more volume again here on Amazon today. It's just a chop fest at the moment. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can add Amazon. That'll make it 6 for today, and I think we're set. Again, guys, I'm not gonna be aggressively taking a trade this morning, so just be careful on the type of day it's going to be. If you find yourself getting stopped out 3-4 times, take a break. That means something is not working the way it should this morning, and there's a reason for that. This is not regular market conditions, so just take a break. Yeah, we looked at BA Alessandro, and yeah, it wasn't good. It wasn't good right now. Pivot Alert Bot is throwing out Hood. What is Hood doing right now? Could be something. They seem to have higher volume than usual, so that's good. Not sure there's any news or catalyst behind Hood. I know I know they were laying off people. Did that take place already? I know they announced that. Probably one of the first companies to get that going, at least announce it publicly. I'm sure there's a lot more layoffs happening that are not significant to be announced, but not sure if Hood started doing that or not. How do you anticipate that is? Wait, hold on a second. How can you anticipate that it will probably be a tough open? From history, man. From history, we've been trading for so long. What is it? 2017. Looking at these stocks every single day. How many Fed meetings have we gone through? Right? How many of these type of days where the market investors, traders are waiting to see what the Fed is going to do, trying to anticipate, if the price, all we're trying to do is trying to anticipate if the price is going to go higher or lower so we can make money. That is as simple as you can put it, right? There's some that are going to gamble and say, you know what, I think it's going to go higher without having any information, because there's not one analyst that can put, that has put a complete 100% bet that, hey, this is what the Fed is going to do today. That haven't seen that on any of the news channels or broadcasts. So there are some people that are going to gamble and say, hey, it's going to go up. I'm going to go, load the boat on this. Some people think it's going to go short. I'm going to, hedge or short this. And, some will be right, some will be wrong, and some will be crying, and some will be laughing. So we know for a fact when the market is waiting for that indecision, there tends to be chop because nobody's committed to a move, right? There's a lot of scalping happening, but nobody's committed to holding a move, holding a position, while the Fed's going to talk and can completely wipe your position out. So when that happens, when there's not that conviction in one direction, you tend to have choppy days, right? Now, have we had anticipated for a Fed meeting and things are not choppy and things do very well? Yeah, we've seen that. That has happened, but for the most part, that's not what takes place more often than not, right? And you got to go with what happens more often than not. That's what trading is about, right? You take your strategies and you get in a 5-minute opening range breakout, ABCD pattern, a half day, mountain reversal pattern, or whatever pattern you're trading. You do this because more often than not, it has worked out, right? That's why you're confident on your strategy. You're confident on your move, right? Thor trades, level 2 R6. He's confident that when this happens on his R and S levels, this takes place more often than not. He's not always going to be right. You're not always going to be right. But if it happens more often, that is what you go with. And it's the same thing with the market. More often we've seen this type of days be very, very choppy. So that's the reason we're saying that. Did we check out Box D? What is Box D? Box D is boxed. Okay, that's a good ticker for boxed. And we got some volume here. 6.2 million, up 30%. Very, very low price stock. I believe we looked at this in the past. Let's see Box D here. What's the float on this? 138 million. Not sure. I'll put it here to check later as we get closer to the market open, but not sure about Box this morning. Boxed. There we go. They got the volume, but it just seems like there's no continuation here. So you had the one initial pop, and now you're going sideways. And I'm always concerned when this happens because, the fun might be over on this. So there's no continuation. Like you're seeing here, like ACAD. Well, ACAD starting to die down a little bit, but the volume is still there, though. We're chopping around a little bit there. Evoke also, you see a little bit more volume there, but still, they're not looking great. If they're not start getting back to these highs of the day here, that is not a good sign. This is not a good sign here. And I think one of these catalysts is not even all that great. I think it's Evoke doesn't have a really good solid catalyst this morning. All right, let's do this, my friends. Let's get our watch list over here. Okay, here it is. Let's get our moderators watch list this morning. Looking forward to see what our moderators are watching on a day like today. For those over on YouTube, if you haven't done so already, hit that thumbs up. We appreciate it very much if you're enjoying the content. And make sure you catch up with some of the stuff that has been released, guys. For example, Dr. Reed yesterday with Artie and Andrew. Great presentation that he has there. That PowerPoint will be available for our members later today. Artie's going to release that. And also yesterday we had Brian going over his strategies, and that was nice as well. So definitely take advantage of that if you missed it. Brian's recording should be available around 1 o'clock or so today, maybe even sooner. All right, here's Thor. He's watching The Q's and the Spy, of course, Neo, Roblox, and Amazon. Dima is looking at Roblox, Lee, Baba, and Apple. Jerry will be looking at BA, ACA, which has incredible volume right now at 2.3, up 24%. And AMD. Secondary list will be XPEF, CCL, and the scanners. And Megan mostly will be watching maybe XPEF. mostly watch. I thought it was going to be mostly watching the SPY or something, but mostly watching today and maybe XBEV this morning, which actually does look good alongside NEO. NEO does look nice as well. All right, guys, 9:15. Oh, here's the man of the hour. Let's bring this back. Is Brian. Brian is looking at BABA, AMD, DWAC, EDU, ACA, and XBEV this morning. So he has a couple on there that he likes. I do like BABA a whole lot today. Again, NEO, BABA, and Apple, all three of them looking very nice, very active this morning. Guys, with that said, over on YouTube, thank you so much for joining us today. CFC, thank you, man, for always being here. Good. King, thank you. Paul, everyone on there, thank you for joining us this morning. Appreciate you guys, and we will see you again tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Remember, the Fed meeting today, the minutes come out at 2 p.m., and then then Jerome takes the mic at 2:30. So just be very careful during that time frame. If you're in a position, consider risk management. I'm not saying you have to close it out. Consider risk management. It could just be maybe just take some off if you're in a positive situation. Protect yourself. Keep less risk on as you get into that time frame. Because again, as I mentioned before, you could be right in the overall move. At the end of the day, you could look back and say, "Oh man, I was right." But at that moment, you could be very, very wrong if things go the opposite way. So, you know what? I did not do levels today. Unbelievable. I completely forgot about levels today. We should do levels. We should. Let's go through here. We'll do this. Let me give you 1 second. Brian, if you can hear me, Brian, you can get started in the chat room, and I'll just keep doing levels here for YouTube. We'll do levels here, but we'll let Brian get started so he's not falling behind. So let me just type to Brian that he can get going on his end, and then we'll do levels for YouTube. Brian, you can get started in chat. All right, we'll send that message over to Brian there. And then we'll continue here on YouTube, guys, and get you guys set up. So, yes, you can DM me on Instagram. You can send me a message on Twitter. It's going to be at Carlos MBBT for both Instagram and Twitter. Whatever you have, you can send me a message there. I'll get back to you. So let's do levels, guys. So here's NEO. Completely forgot about that, man. What a wacky day. High of the pre-market 1930 is there. Towards the top, we do have 1969, so that's good there. I'm going to go ahead and hit there it is. Brian is coming on to our chat room. And for those that have not seen our chat over on YouTube, let me show you what that looks like if you're not a member.
Just so I know when things are over. Otherwise, I'll just
so there's
depend on Zilla. You can always let me know.
So there's Brian doing his thing. Looks like Brian is already short ACAD and covering ACAD this morning. Man, nice. So good stuff there. Brian taking a real nice trade. All right, so NEO, guys, 1920, 28, 1969, and then we have up here 2039 towards the top, towards the bottom, previous day close, and we do have 1806, not a great level. I wouldn't put too much weight on that one, just be very careful there. But I do like these ones up here. Again, NEO today, guys, I really like NEO. I think the volume is great, 2.3, up 1.3. Again, I think these Chinese companies will be doing much better if it wasn't for the SPY, the overall market holding them down. They got some really good news, as I mentioned before, about regulators stepping down a little bit. This is what really killed a lot of these Chinese companies, the regulators getting involved, and there was a lot of uncertainty in these Chinese tickers. But now that has gone away, and they want to bounce back. But again, we need the SPYs to help them a little bit here. So, oh, sorry, let me bring this back. There we go. Sorry about that. So thank you for pointing that out. So here it is, BABA this morning. As far as levels, high of the pre-market 107.50, and then towards the top, we're going to mark down 113.75, and we have this one all the way up here at 118. This is a big level here because you got this gap, we had a gap up, and then we had the gap down. So BABA doesn't like to be in this area. So hopefully we can get above that. That'll be nice. Pre-market activity is looking very good this morning. As I mentioned, both NEO and BABA looking very nice for me today. Here is Apple. Apple this morning towards the bottom, high of the pre-market, we're looking at 134.55. Then towards the bottom, we're looking at the low of the pre-market at 133.26. Highs and lows for the last two trading days, kind of putting a lot of the levels for you here. I don't think you need to add anything else. Again, I think Apple is going to be choppy today, guys. So we'll just have to wait and see. Hey, good morning, the Ray Trader. Good morning. Here's Roblox. Roblox not looking good anymore, to be honest. I mean, it had this initial move here, and it just kind of wind down to a point, and it hasn't done much since then. Volume has died down. Let's see what the market open brings in about 10 minutes. I think that's going to maybe do some stuff for us there. Low of the pre-market 23.72. And then if we head towards the left here, we do have a level around 21.84. And then this small one here, not too much weight on 22.54, just in case we do drop on roadblocks. I don't expect that drop unless the SPY is going to help it. I think it already did its range, right? The news came out, the numbers for May on roadblocks. It came out, it did its range. I think it will stay within here unless the market has something to say about it. That's just my take on it. Here's NVIDIA, another one very similar to Apple. I just think we're going to get some chop at the open. High of the pre-market right now, 161.15. And once you mark that down, I mean, if you're marking your highs and lows for the last 2 trading days, you're set. I mean, look at the range you have here. You have levels towards the bottom, a couple towards the top. I think you're pretty much set on NVIDIA. And last but not least, Amazon. And just, again, I expect this, a little bit of that at the market open as well. What I like about Amazon, and I did not think they were going to do this when they did their split, is the volume we're getting on Amazon. So once we're back into some kind of regular market conditions, I think Amazon is going to be like one of our AMD's Apple type trades. I think it's going to be on our watch list going forward. So let's get familiar with it. The volume is great on this thing, and it has traded very well with the overall market. These days in here were very nice with some good volume, which is nice because when you have that good volume, your spread is tight, the movements are good, your level 2 has more information for you, just a whole lot that you can take out of when you have great volume like we're seeing on Amazon. Right now, choppy pre-market. I mean, it's just no direction whatsoever. Yes, we're up 1%, but that doesn't mean a whole lot at the moment. All right, guys, we got your levels here. Sorry for forgetting about that. Brian is in the chat room ready to go. Eamon released his list. He's looking at AMD and Meta, one of these only for today. Peter's reporting only one IPO, HSCS, and it'll be an interesting day, guys. Again, trade safe, but most importantly, just, again, watch out for the market open day trade log. I agree 100%. And just be patient. If you get stopped out 2, 3, or 4 times, take a break. Let the market do its thing and then just kind of reassess the situation. It might be that today's one of those days where you just don't trade. You just watch and, you save your ammo for after the Fed meeting when the market does pick a direction, or even when we come back Thursday. Take the day off. Go to the park, do something. We come back Thursday and crush it, right, guys? So take care. I'll see you today at 3:30 for the closing bell with Artie and Andrew. We had a great show yesterday. Looking forward to today. I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about what we did yesterday. I'll see you in the chat there, and then I'll see you tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. So take care, guys. Trade safe.